Hey everybody, welcome back to the Headway Podcast. I'm Shane, your host, and joining me is co-host Rachel.
Hey everyone! Last time we delved into the challenges of living with changes in your planning and organising skills. Today we're navigating the complex landscape of living with changes in your memory.
Memory is a cornerstone of our daily lives, influencing everything from recalling names and faces to learning new skills. However, like many aspects of life, memory can undergo changes due to various factors. Today we're joined by individuals who have experienced shifts in their memory and are here to share their journeys and insights.
Our guests today have unique perspectives on living with changes in your memory. Let's dive into their experiences and gather valuable insights.
So, my name is David O'Hara. I've been attending Headway for about 4 years after a brain injury suffered about 5 years ago. I'm definitely in a very different place than I was when I first. A big part of that rehabilitation has been attending Headway. It's a very different life than I thought. By God, it's far better than it was.
Hi, my name is Stephen Carroll Short, aka Shorty. I got my brain injury to professional boxing. I wasn't aware of my emotion at the time of what I was suffering with, suffering with depression, and didn't realise it or accept it until I started going and getting help and stuff like that, like making myself aware of what depression really is, and anxiety and sleep problems and stuff like that. Then coming here to Headway after being given the news that I had the brain injury and stuff like that, got on to me doctor and she put me on the Headway, and ever since that has been a great support for me and stuff.
Hi everybody, I'm Josephine Gilchrist and I'm with Headways now about 10-12 years. I had 2 brain aneurysms, and to fight for the recovery, it was fantastic through Headways. They're just brilliant. They gave me the insight of life and how I can have my confidence back and not being afraid of going to sleep and not waking up. I'm very grateful for Headways for my life. Thank you.
The first topic is the impact of memory changes on daily life with David.
Hello. I think an important way to start would even just to be to understand where we all begin. How do both of you feel that your memory was really impacted? Given that memory is such an important thing for day-to-day life and is often just overlooked, how do you feel it's really impacted?
I feel it's impacted in me everyday living, because even at the start I'd be arguing about things that I said I'd done,
Yeah.
and I'd be convincing myself that I didn't do it or I didn't say it. And or even when I'd be talking to people, I'd forget what I'm talking about halfway through the conversation and stuff like that, and I just got blank, and I found that very hard and distressing to come to like that. I had a brain injury, and that it does affect your memory and stuff like that,
Not easy, because even when you go out and your brain injuries are done with, and you're introduced to people and then people look at you in a strange way. She's a brain injury, there's something wrong with her. Did not hear about you had 2 brain injuries. The commons in life can be very, very difficult, and yet you want to prove to yourself that you are strong. You have injuries that people cannot see, but you just need a support around you to make people believe that you are still going, you're alive, we're here, and please accept me for what I am. The fear of that now really knocked me back dreadfully. And then the fear of not being able to go to sleep, I developed that pattern because I thought if I went to sleep, I wouldn't wake up. And then through Headways, they really gave me the outer sight. And as my husband used to say to me, you got the third line. Be happy now, Headways is helping you always. So I don't know, how do you feel about Headways now?
Yeah, very happy with Headways.
Good.
They've helped me a lot. They've helped me come out of my shell again, being back in the community and stuff like that, being able to talk to people. I've no problem mentioning to people now that I have a brain injury and stuff like that my memory is not as good as what I used to be, and I'm a different person now, basically,
But you're just still you, but you've acknowledgement in your life,
yeah,
which is half a battle, I think.
Yeah.
When people can acknowledge it and accept you and just say, well, let's come on, we can still go, we can do this. I know I can't go skydiving anymore now. But my husband used to say to the doctor, when she's going through the airport to go away, she's not going to go beep beep because my 2 aneurysms have to be clipped. And he said, not at all. Go and live your life. And he meant it in a very, very good manner with confidence given back, because he's done a great job. And I'm alive, and we're here, and we're happy. And accept the new me. That was the way I felt about life. And yourself, when you were acknowledged about it, and how did you feel when coming out and letting people know? That
I never ran from it.
Good.
I see absolutely no point running from it.
Fantastic.
I would see it almost just like losing a leg. It might be more visual, but it's just as important to make it perfectly clear.
Because it's your body,
There's
your brain.
absolutely no point in running from it. Else you're simply reinforcing the stigma that, ironically, I would have followed without realizing. I would have noticed I was in some way adding stereotypes before ever managing it. And that's a key part to that personal development. You have to learn how things have impacted you and adapt to them. And without doubt, I think memory would be the biggest difficulty, because the brain injury, for me, memory has been the biggest thing impacted. It was a complete reset, gone. Did not remember a single thing, anything. And I mean that. No, my brothers.
Really nothing.
Bro, I still can't. Huge amounts of my life are gone. I have absolutely no idea. I know they existed, but I don't know that they're there. I don't feel them.
Okay.
I think an easy way that I've learned to explain it to myself, and definitely when speaking to others, is that a huge amount of what used to be David O'Hara now feels more like a history book. Because we all know what the Colosseum was, but we don't know about the person who was making bets, and we don't know about the overpriced beer, and you know the place around the corner to get the good beer. You don't know where the smell is. You don't know how you felt when the one that your friend bet on actually won, and then he punched you in the face. You don't remember those important aspects that actually make a memory. So there's a big sense of disassociation, where I know they happened, just like I know the gladiator matches happened, but I have no recollection of being there. And I can understand the facts, but it doesn't mean I actually feel anything related to it. And that is definitely still an ongoing struggle. It's something you don't just get over.
How are you coping with that now?
A lot of denial, in honesty.
Okay.
There has to be some denial, because there's an awful lot of social expectations around memory, which, as said, I think before I had to really deal with it, I was applying to others. You'd immediately call someone stupid if they couldn't remember something. Or there's a sense of shame of not remembering my mother's birthday. But by now, I've just learned to accept, okay, maybe I'm never going to, and maybe that isn't going to
I think
change.
time is the best thing on your hands when I have memory problems and stuff like that. That you realise after so long, you realise, okay, I have memory problems, like, you know what I mean? I have to learn to accept this and share with people, you know, let them know, let people know that you don't remember, and
Yeah.
it's not your fault, like, you know.
Being honest
Being
is
honest
the absolute key part.
I used to have to get a badge and put my name Josie on it. And even if I was talking to 15 people, even in Headway, sitting around and it's, no, that's Josh, no, that's Mary, hold on. I had to do that because my memory at that stage, about 2 years after the brain injuries, was very uneasy.
I already forget.
No
all of your
confidence
names.
with it, I
You
hadn't.
introduced yourself less than 5 minutes ago, and it's gone.
I was married
And
to
I won't.
Napoleon.
See, that might have been funny if I knew, but it's gone.
Thank you. I divorced him a long time ago.
Hopefully you got a big strong man this time.
Please, God, yeah. Be foolish. I don't know. It's fantastic that we can still sit here and laugh and joke.
Yeah.
Like, you know, come on, it's
Yeah,
part of being human. I know when I go home, even my grandchildren just say to me, what's Headway about?
Yeah.
It's about meeting people. Have everybody got heads? Of course, he's only 4 years of age and he's asked me something like that. Oh, sorry, yeah, absolutely fantastic. And then he'd go away and he'd think, and then he'd come back with a picture and he'd have Headway written on it, and then I'm there. And I was like, lots of kisses. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. And I have to put that on the fridge for a week. Let him know. I do remember.
Yeah.
And then he'd come back and he'd say, what am I getting for my birthday? I didn't forget that one, yeah.
Yeah.
What
Well,
can we
it's
say?
interesting that you remember that happens, you know, so
Yeah.
would you say that, even say your own children, you mentioned grandchildren, I assume you have your own children somewhere. That would mean, how do you feel the memory has impacted your relationship with them? Or the memories you might have with them? Would you see any difference? Or
When I was recovering the first 2 years, 3 years from the brain aneurysms, they did see very big changes in me because I wasn't as outgoing as I used to be. And I was very, very nervous about life and even speaking to people. And then I used to say to myself, what have I done to deserve this? Where do you go with 2 brain aneurysms? And when I got into counselling in Headways, the counselling that I received was just absolutely fantastic. He had me on the road within 3 weeks of letting me believe that life is still here. Please accept life. You're alive. And my great-grandmother, when she used to say an awful lot to me, she used to say, always turn the other side of the coin. There's something worse on that side. So my belief and my memories came back to me very, very quickly. when I was believing in myself and when people were helping me to believe in myself. And of course, maybe an odd date here and there and things like that. But it was for me to accept the new me. And then they accepted. And then I put a bucket list out. I want to go here, I want to go to Jamaica, I want to go here, I want to go there. They didn't realise that, no. They said, no. They said, no, not yet, no, not yet. But I did go back to New York anyway. But it's important for you to express how you're feeling and to be very honest about it. I know sometimes when we sort of cluster ourselves and we shut down, we just can't come out. And then we feel maybe embarrassed or annoyed, angry, certain things. But it keeps on hitting us. But you have to get away and get around that. I'll find another way. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. No, I'll do it now. Okay, yeah, I'm going to read that later on. It's just keeping positivity there. And I'm glad I'm doing it that way. I know some people get tired of listening to this, but please don't. There is always a way around it, no matter who we are in life.
What impact does the aneurysm have? Like, what millimeters are your aneurysms and what impact has it
They're like a
on
blood
you?
clot.
I know, how can myself.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously, I was told it's nothing to worry about, you know.
Okay.
And I never found it at the time when I got my first scan and that, for professional boxing, that it was a problem, and I was just told it's there, you know, you can still.
This was in your brain then, was it?
Yeah. And I'm still a little boxing stuff like that, you know. So I
It's amazing.
never thought like that it impact someone's life.
Yeah.
The way you're explaining it, like, you know.
I know.
Aneurysms. Yeah.
They're blood clots, and some of them can increase very badly. This one increased very badly on the side. It was up to nearly 6 centimetres.
Yeah.
And that was a lot, because if that had busted, I would be in a very bad state. I mightn't even be here.
Yeah.
And then going back into the history of it, when I used to speak to people about it, my grandmother had a stroke.
Yeah.
My brother, he had an aneurysm, which brought on a heart attack, and he died. And when I went back, if we say 3 years, 4 years after, like, you know, go and live your life, everything's good, you know what you have to do. And he says, I have to say something to you. I says, please do. And he said, it's hereditary in your family. And that blew my mind. Because he said to me, you have children, so I have. I have 4. He said they need to get an MRI scan done every 5-10 years. So why are you so positive about this? He said, I know my history and I know my job. You look back at your mother having an aneurysm. You look back at your brother having an aneurysm. You look back at your grandmother taking a stroke. You look back at 2 other members of your families that were having strokes. And once we can operate on them, that's good, but it is hereditary. If it's the form of cancer or a tumour, it's totally different. The aneurysms can be dealt with. And once they can get in and get them, some of them are fantastic. They can just flush them out.
Yeah.
What causes it, nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's inside your brain. It's like inside your heart, inside the back of your eye. Here we look at our kidneys. We look at every part of our body. And then all of a sudden we say, what caused this? And I look at the little girl, 3.5 years of age, and she took a stroke.
Yeah.
And then you say, why? So it's
It's
all
mad
to do.
because I had the aneurysm while I was boxing and stuff, and you get a scan every year,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and because of the brain injury and stuff like that afterwards, I was still getting a scan every year, like, you know. And then I noticed the doctor not mentioning my aneurysm for probably a year or two. I know she didn't mention my aneurysm, like, and one day, this is going back about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
One day, I was feeling very anxious and stuff like that. I said,
Okay.
I'm just gonna go out and said, go on a jog. Went on a jog, and what happened to me on the jog is what was like a stroke. Like, I had to drag my leg along.
Okay.
I couldn't pull me right side along, you know, walking. So I turned back and I walked home. I had to carry myself home, like, you know. And my friends seen me coming in at the walkway of my house,
Yeah.
and they carried me to up to my front door, like, you know.
Good,
I
good.
didn't know what was going on. Just said I felt weird, so I went up, had a shower with them, went to bed and see what happens then. After that, then I got my scans and all, and it came back the aneurysm wasn't there, like, you know. I said to the doctor, I says, what's the story with the aneurysm? Is it still there, like? And she says it hadn't shown up in the MRIs and stuff like that, you know. I said, so that was a stroke I took. And she says, well, we're not too sure, we'll have to look into that again and stuff like that, you know. She just keep on the long finger that was a stroke that I actually had. She tried to say that I had an epileptic fit.
Yeah.
At the time, she said it could have been an epileptic fit or something like that, you know. But I'm not on any epileptic medication right now, you know.
Okay.
She just said it could have been a fit that you had that day. That's what she reckons. But like I said, I was carrying myself up the road. I had to hold my head up straight.
Very frightening.
Yeah,
extremely.
drag my leg along and stuff like that, you know. It was weird, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what they came out with, that it's
Yeah.
probably a stroke or an epilepsy fit or
They
something.
thought
But
they have
your
it down as a failure.
and your aneurysm isn't there anymore.
No.
That's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now there's a new growth there on the brain.
Listen,
I'm not sure what it is, you know.
you tell them to look into that more.
Yeah.
You want answers, yeah.
with them, yeah.
He's got to have good answers. Come on, you've been through it all, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Throw the left one into the right.
Yeah.
We can do it. Come on,
Yeah.
yeah. It's great to get the news that you want, and same with Headways when we come, we speak to them,
Yeah.
and look how willingly they're willing to give us the
Give
space
us,
and
yeah.
time and listen to us.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they get a pain in their head,
Yeah.
but sometimes my job is done. But like, you know, these are fantastic, these are.
Yeah. Thankful for Headway, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Our next topic today is understanding changes in memory with Stephen.
Yeah, so I'll start off with memory and how it impacted in me. Like when I started with depression and stuff like that, I'd be doing things and then I'm not remembering, or like even taking my medication, I'd be like, did I take or did I not take it? There was actually one time my wife told me about a movie called The Room, and she told me the whole story about it. Went into it that she was watching it in college. A couple of days later, then I said to her, I says, do you want to watch a movie called The Room? I said that I was repeating back to her everything she had told me. I had told her I'd seen it, but I hadn't seen it. I convinced in my own head that because what she told me I knew.
Yeah.
I felt like
Positivity,
I have seen the film, and I argued down to the ground with her about that. I said,
You make
no, I've
links.
seen her. What?
You seemingly make links.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
thinking
it's,
in your
it's
head,
almost like you're filling in the blanks.
Yeah,
And you don't
yeah.
even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
No,
amazing.
I understand
Yeah,
exactly.
but going through that, and I was convinced I knew the film, like, you know, and I still to today, I don't remember, I couldn't tell you what happened in the movie, you know, but I was just convinced I watched it. I had the full-blown argument with my wife that I did see it and watch it and stuff like that, you know, but that was one of the main things about memory as well, like, you know, and just arguing, like, about, like, money, like, I'd go spend money in the shop and then I'd come back, and then the next day I'd check my wallet and I'd be like, where did your money gone, like, you know, and she'd explain to me, like, you went to the shop yesterday, you spent €20, like, you know, I don't know what you bought, but you bought stuff, like, and it slightly come back to me then, but I'm just thinking that, like some of that being money or stuff like that, you know, so.
You know, would you find yourself even being suspicious?
Yeah.
Like immediately not believing what they say?
Absolutely.
Again, almost like you've filled in the blanks.
Yeah.
Completely contradicts.
Yeah.
Even if everyone else around you was telling you, no, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's hard.
You still almost want to reject
Yeah.
because it seems so real to you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand that's such an overwhelming feeling.
Because even still today, I leave my wallet at home looking depressed, you know, and I leave it there unless I am going to the shop or the Outfit Man or whatever, you know.
New routine.
And, what?
New routine.
The routine.
Routine. Get it done this
Yeah.
way. That was like
Yeah.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost my
So
bank
people
cards
leave-
and all. Yeah. And no, I didn't. I hid them.
leave at home.
Then I found them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Go on, Stephen. Tell us.
I'd go to the wallet, take out 20 or whatever, and go and spend it. So that's what I remember what I did with my money is that. I remember reflect on it that I did go back to my wallet and stuff like that. So that's why I just leave it at home now, and I go through it to get something out of it. Or
It's funny how things can trickle back. You realize what you have remembered,
yeah,
or information that you definitely didn't have access to before,
yeah,
and all of a sudden it's flooded in.
yeah,
Yeah.
You think you know it all, like
Yeah, and
Blows your
it's-
mind, doesn't it, when that
Oh,
happens?
it's
It
one of the
blows your mind,
strangest
yeah.
things. I mean, I worked in kitchens my entire life, but when I forgot how to use a knife.
Yeah.
I couldn't have described to you how it in terminology, but my muscles remembered how to do it. My muscles knew everything, but if I had to actually describe it using any sort of speech or have to explain it to someone, no, it'd be gone. And I said, just one day, it's like years of experience flooded back, and I understood the different knife techniques and was able to explain them using the terminology. And yet that wasn't there 10 seconds before.
Yeah.
And it's a very, well, it's obviously a very happy experience. And then you realize, wow, that was gone for so long.
Yeah.
yeah,
How did I survive? I mean, how can you imagine how bad my celery was without me knowing how to do that?
Tell me.
It's a very strange thing to realize the comparison you might have. Reality of what memory was like before, and definitely early after the brain injury. I mean, I'm unsure for both of you, but now it's 5 years living with it. And I'm still completely dependent on a whiteboard, you know, but it took a long time to realize you can't depend on A, B, C, and D.
yeah,
Good
And I
man.
think one
Keep
of them
going that
is-
way.
So you're
going.
depending on yourself, and a huge amount of that is pressure or societal pressure.
Yeah.
And realizing, no, you can't. It's okay to forget this.
Yeah.
You're going to have to structure yourself in a way that you never did before. And a part of that is actually just writing stuff down. Just write it down. And then all of a sudden, oh, I do have an appointment next week.
Yeah.
And then I'll forget it in 10 minutes, but go back and actually.
You have it
know.
written down. Yeah.
Any appointments I get now, I just stick straight up onto the fridge, put in front of whatever dates are for, you know, put them in front of that letter. And I know when it comes up then, when I'm going through the letters, that appointment coming up or whatever, you know. That's what helps me, sticking on the fridge, you know. And so I'm unsure of an appointment or whatever. Even if I get a phone call with another appointment, I'll just write it down on my letter, the same letter, with my other appointment that I know that, right there, that's my list, like, you know. That helps me,
wonderful
that's
feeling.
what I find helps me.
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
You are getting excited. I've done it. I know it's there.
Yeah.
This is the way I can go.
Yeah,
And that
confident.
gives the mind more positivity every day.
Yeah.
And it makes you believe more in yourself.
Yeah.
That you can actually do it. I was learning how to turn left and turn right. No, it was the end of the corridor, turn left, and I was still going right. And that was 6 months after the brain injuries. It's the thing that happens, and you learn to live with it and you learn to improve it. There is no other way out of it. Or else you can just forget about it and be like that, but I didn't want to be like that.
No,
I
it's,
wanted
it's
to help myself.
forgetting left or right, and then realizing, do you know what? I have this magic computer in my pocket that can find the way for me. So
Right.
why am I being so stubborn? And just say, hang on, I need to go from here to there. I've been there 20,000 times, but I'm still going to use the map to get there.
Yeah.
And realizing that, okay, this is just something I'm not very skilled at. And there's no shame in running
No,
and
absolutely
finding
not.
another method to complete a task just because you tell yourself you should be able to do it.
But you can't.
Yeah.
You tell yourself you can't. And definitely when you really, really can't, that's when it's very healthy to just say, yeah, okay, I can't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Acknowledgement,
But that's
yeah.
the life I have
Yeah,
to live.
acknowledgement.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a scary thing to look at piles of books, of old poetry I would have written. There's videos and recordings of me running a podcast in the past, but I don't understand the vocabulary. It's done. None of it.
You can get it back. Stay
Maybe,
positive.
but then I have to remember them, and then they slip
Stay
out
positive,
again.
yes.
The difficulty, as said, is acknowledging that, and then realizing, okay, but it's just as you said, you can get them back.
You can.
What can you do differently? It doesn't take away that it hurts. It doesn't take away that it's still gonna be a strange sensation to realize, and it's something that it just takes time to internalize and learn to move forward with. So could you give us any examples, Stephen, of something similar to that?
In what way? What you mean?
You were saying about sticking things up on the fridge.
Yeah.
Would I be right to say that, say, the people you live with know that?
Yeah.
They know whatever's
Yeah, they
sticking
know.
up there.
They help. My wife and kids I live with, and they help me out day to day. Like, you know, they could get me up in the morning when my alarm clock's
Yes,
going
yes,
off,
yes,
you know,
yes, yeah.
drag me out of bed.
No line in today, Dad. Come on up. Yep.
Dad, get up and take your medication. Going to bed, take your medication.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Dad, do
Wonderful.
this, do that. You promised me this, you know. And I don't doubt them now anymore. Like, you know, I used to be like, hang on, did I say that? Or did I not say that? Now they say I promised them something, like, you know, and I'll keep to my word now and stuff.
What age are they, though?
12 and 9.
Oh, they're going to start using that.
Yeah, you got that advantage, yeah.
Oh,
Just get the eye contact. As if you were boxing, the eye contact, and let them. No, that's it. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we won't take them downtown. We'll go uptown. Right? Yeah.
The trust is great to hear. You know,
It
because
is, yeah.
especially when it comes to something like memory, you do have to accept, just as we were
Yeah.
saying about somewhat filling in those blanks. You just have to accept, maybe I didn't remember, and okay. And instead of, you were saying earlier, Stephen, about, getting really frustrated.
Yeah.
I used to get incredibly angry.
Yeah.
And outlandishly angry at the people around me because I just didn't understand. And that took a lot of time. Still to this day, sometimes.
Yep.
Where
it's
you
there.
realize how frustrated you can get. I think sometimes it's just easy to forget that it is out of your control and you can't put that pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
It was like me when I had to talk to my children, and for them to open up and to say to me about the hurt I was giving them.
Yeah.
when I was refusing help from them. And as I say, that was about 18 months after, because I was always very, very dependent on myself, always did things for myself.
Independent.
And when you look back, when they said to me, "Ma'am, we just want you back. So you have me, but this is the new me," and accept it. They accepted it with positivity, and yet there was days of anger and days of hurt, days of tearship, crying even. And even when they came to Headways with me and they sat in on different conferences, and they realised, like, you know, it was a difficult road I was on, but they were there to help. To stand back a bit as well too, but to help. So we've crossed all these paths in life. And I keep on saying when I get the 6 numbers, yes, Headway is getting the first million.
And our third and final topic today is coping strategies for memory challenges with Josephine.
Coping with the brain injuries and getting knowledge of them first can be very, very frightening. And when you don't know actually what they're about. And then, of course, it's fantastic to hear that they can operate on you and that the job will be done and that they're good at doing their job. Leaving the hospital 6 months apart of the 2 brain injuries, it was to cope and to try and understand. Your hair growing back, you're looking at old friends and old places and different aspects in life, and to say, and some people are very, very frightened to come back into your life because they have a fear if anything happens to you in front of them, they wouldn't know how to cope with it. And wearing this lovely badge from Headways was to give sort of an identification of who you are and what's happening. And the same
So
with
for
your medication.
clarification, that's how you would find a method of managing your own memory in relation to interacting with the outside world.
Thank you, very much so. And when you interact with that, it's half the battle, because you're taking acknowledgement with it if you're going to interact. And you're listening to people, and then you're saying to yourself, did I take my tablets today? Oh no, hold on, I've taken another 2 tablets. Wait, yeah. And then you're introduced to this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday program in a little plastic container.
Yeah.
And then your medication could get higher, and then you might come off some other medication in 6 months. And as I said, I was frightened going back. My first aneurysm was in April, but then I went back in December, and it was the 19th of December, and had me home and off Christmas Day. And that was not like, you know, saying to me, now you have to go here, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was finding the number on the wall that I could cope with the security of knowing that Headways was out there. And even when I rang that number a year later, but in that year, life was difficult. People I knew and people I worked for, and people that I thought were going to be friendship for all of my life, suddenly starts to back away.
So how did you cope with that?
I got very sad about it.
Yeah, of course. I've lost
Because
most of my friends.
It's a horrible feeling.
They don't
it's an
want
empty feeling.
It's-
Horrible.
I think there's no running from it, but that's you know what we're here to say. I think it's about coping. It's about what methods you use to cope.
Yeah.
And I know definitely early on in living with brain injury, a big part of it was, as we said earlier, it's about a big blob of denial.
Yes.
It's running from the fact that you actually can't remember, and using those methods. It's you know, you mentioned using just the name tag.
Yep.
I've already forgotten everyone's name. Told you. Gone. I'm not lying, but there's just people I've worked with for a year. I still got the name wrong. Completely. Don't remember them at all. But it's about coping, because I have to think I wouldn't have been able to write their name a few years ago. So definitely in the beginning, I think one of those key aspects is to acknowledge your own denial. One of those key parts in those beginning steps of how to cope with the development and the difficulties around memory.
Thank you.
Without doubt,
The fear.
just acknowledging it, just going, I'm not getting so angry, even though it seems so natural. Mm-hmm. To not run away from it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of pressure for people to remember. But just to say, yeah, okay, I forgot.
True.
And unfortunately, that led to me, you know, forgetting that I already ate 2 cookies and then going back and eating 4. And then that causes problems.
Did you enjoy them?
God,
Chocolate
yeah,
cookie.
of course I
You did,
would.
yeah.
remember.
I had a Toblerone, I wouldn't even give you a square of it. I just love it myself. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude now. Like, you know, I would share, but I wouldn't share a Toblerone, which is. But I'd look at you, Stephen, you professionally boxing.
Yeah.
How did you cope with it when you realised,
Didn't
like, you know,
accept it. I wouldn't accept it. Like, you know, when he told me that I had a brain injury, like, no, I don't. You know, even the doctor telling me I'm going through depression, I was like, no, I don't believe it. Like, you know, I didn't want to believe it. But all the signs and symptoms were there, like, you know, like, just going in on myself, pushing people away. It's hard, like, trying to come back training for a couple of weeks and then just getting knocked back then.
Yeah.
Back to the start, like, you know.
Denial constantly.
Yeah,
That's
just,
the way I felt it, denial.
Yeah. Hard to believe there's something wrong with your way. I'm trying to act normal, like, you know. You don't want to be this different person anymore, like, you know, or you don't want to be a different person at all, like, you know.
Acting normal is the best way you could have put it.
Yeah.
Acting normal.
Trying to act normal, yeah.
Because you already have, you know, an idea in your head of what normal even is.
Yeah.
You already have a preconceived idea of how you're supposed to act.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, it is that denial where you run that you can't act in this certain way.
Yeah.
There's definitely lots of coping methods. There's lots of ways to get through. But I'm glad to hear, Stephen, that I think by now you sort of that's still something that really burns through me. It's denial.
Yeah.
It's realizing you can't.
You can't do it.
And just going, okay then.
Yeah.
That's still very difficult.
It is. It's tough. It's tough to accept. I don't know if it's for everyone. Well, it's hard for me to accept, you know. And like I was thinking, I was rocky at the time, you know, boxing at the time.
You were.
Yeah,
Don't
I
think
know.
it. You were.
I was rocky,
you were. Yeah, exactly.
Boxing at the time, I was thinking
You could do it.
Yeah, I could do it. And thought I could come back from the brain. Even if I did have a brain injury, I thought I could still train and come back and fight again and stuff like that. But like I said, every couple of weeks, then I was just getting knocked back down, you know, and with depression and stuff like that, mood low and
Everything's horrible, isn't it?
yeah.
The fear of it too, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fear if you didn't disacknowledge any medication or disacknowledge this of coping, that you would take the wrong turn.
Yeah.
And with depression that sets in with coping, and dreadfully, there is certain aspects in life that we say, what's this all for? Where am I going with this? How can I cope with this? Where am I going to get help? Headway. They did it for me, there's no question about that.
They did it for me too, like,
And they
being
cope.
accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As we wrap up this discussion, let's hear a final sentence from each of our guests.
When the fear sets inside you with your recovery, your memory can go blank completely. And when you get your confidence back, and when you're talking to people and understanding people, your memory will flow back, and you'll make new memories, and new days, and new times. Keep the hope up in there.
Yeah, just don't let little things bother you, like, you know, don't let it get to you that, like, oh, my memory's terrible, like, you know, I don't know what's up in my memory and that, and let it eat at you, like, you know. Just accept it for what it is and learn from it, like, you know, learn new strategies and, like, put, like, little notices up on your fridge or on presses or wherever you go regularly, just to remind you of things, like, whether a date or a time or you have to do something later on in the evening, like, you know. Just help yourself, like, you know. Helping yourself is the main thing, like, you know, and accept that you have a problem with your memory is a good thing as well, like, you know, like, even at the start of my issues, like, you know, I wouldn't accept that I had these problems, like, I was like, no, I haven't got memory problems, I haven't got depression, I haven't got this. Just, when you accept it, then it just seems to come more easily, you know. You find easier ways to cope and manage it. Accept it.
Unfortunately, I think Stephen said everything that needs to be. I think the most important thing is it's okay to be afraid. And especially when you realize, as the examples I've given, how much you might have forgotten or how scary it is to think about what you will forget. It's okay to feel all those negative emotions, and it's okay to dwell in them for a little while, because without actually feeling them, you won't feel the other side. You won't feel how great it is to finally remember your mother's name. And that was me a few years ago. In all reality, it is just about accepting and coping and knowing that in 6 months' time, you'll feel like a completely different person. And another 6 months, and another 6 months, and it's a few years later and none of it matters anymore. You learn to cope and you learn to accept.
And that brings us to the end of today's topic, into living with changes in your memory. Such a profound and enlightened discussion, Rachel.
Absolutely, Shane. A big thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their stories and shedding light on the journey of living with changes in your memory.
And of course, a thank you to our listeners for joining us on this insightful episode. Your support means the world to us.
If you found today's episode resonating with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have more compelling topics lined up for future episodes.
Connect with us on social media to share your thoughts, questions, and experiences related to memory changes.
Join us next week as we tackle the topic of fatigue and sleep with 3 new guests.
So until next time, take care, stay curious, and navigate the twists and turns of life with Headway.